Hey guys, it's Chris Cassidy with eXp Realty and the Living North of Boston YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to talk real quick about for sale by owners. I've had the privilege of working with many for sale by owners over the years, people who started out attempting to sell their home on their own, who would end up calling me after a couple of weeks of frustration. Nevertheless, there is a temptation to sell on your own because you're thinking, well, I'll save the commission, I'll net more money. So I wanted to talk in my many consultations over the years, and I've been doing this for 28 years. There's one story I always tell, and then I have a twist on that story. So I used to always talk to people and say, when I was talking to them about, when we were going back and forth about the merits of doing for sale by owner and saving the cost of a realtor, one of the things I would talk about, I would say, listen, if you had a Rolex, would you sell it at a yard sale? Or if I was talking to someone today, would you sell it at a yard sale or put it on Facebook Marketplace? Or would you investigate, jewelers at least, maybe get some online valuations? Because the funny thing about jewelry is they have online valuation tools. The big chain, jewelry companies have online valuation tools for stuff just like realtors do for homes. Would you at least investigate and maybe talk to some jewelers and see if they could, potentially get you more money? Or would you just sell a Rolex at a yard sale or, Facebook Marketplace or wherever, And I would explain it to them and they would sort of get it. They'd be like, yeah. And the other thing I would say is, if you're a buyer, are you going to feel comfortable buying a Rolex at a yard sale? Or are you going to be more comfortable paying at a jeweler and buying it from a jeweler? And would you maybe pay more to have the extra confidence that what you're buying is legitimate and that you have all the paperwork in hand and all of that? Because here's the thing about Rolexes is when you sell a Rolex, the more, like if you have the box that it came in and the tag that comes on it and the sticker on the back of the on the back of the bezel, the more of that stuff you have, like if you have the original receipt, like all of that stuff makes the Rolex worth more. If I sell you a Rolex Submariner and it's, a $10,000 watch, let's say, and I just hand it to you with none of the stuff, it's not worth $10,000. So, the thing is that if you buy it from a jeweler, you have a better chance it's going to be certified. You're going to have recourse if there's a problem, if you find out it's fake, because there's a million fake Rolexes out there and they get better and better every year at the technology. So I've used this example for years, and then a funny thing happened. Years ago when I was single and didn't have 4 kids, and when I was first starting to become really fairly successful in real estate, I bought a Rolex. It was a beautiful Submariner. It was navy bezel, navy blue, like a royal blue almost bezel, and it was a 2-tone band, so it was gold and stainless steel. It was beautiful. It was a Submariner, which you see a lot of Submariners that have the black face and the steel band. This was blue face with gold and steel, so not as common to see out and about out in the wild. And it was a really, really, really nice watch, and I loved that watch. I had that watch for 11 years, and it was probably 8 years ago that I decided to sell it because now I had kids. Business was crazy. I was running around. A lot of times, actually, people judge you. They would judge you having a Rolex, and they'd be like, oh, I don't know if I want to work with this guy. He makes too much money, which, real estate's an up and down business, so there's never too much money to be made, because even if you have a crazy year, you might have a slow year the next year, so you have to always plan for that. But anyway, so I had this Rolex and I decided to sell it. So I did what every consumer does. I went online first and I went on some valuation sites and I looked at how much this Rolex would be worth, and it gave me a number. And I went on 3 different valuation sites. Excuse me. They all gave me roughly the same number within a couple of $100. So I thought, okay, well that's good. Now I know. Here's the thing. My wife used to work for a jeweler locally in Melrose, Morgan Jewelers, years ago. And I knew the two guys at Morgan Jewelers, and so I called them. And I talked, and both of their names are escaping me right now. I apologize, guys. But I called them, and I said, I'm thinking about selling my Rolex. And he said, all right, we'll bring it down, but I got to tell you, you picked the worst time to sell it because Apple had just come out with, like, their watch or something, and like the iWatch, and Android was coming out with watches. Like, everybody was starting to come out with smartwatches. He's like, the demand for a luxury timepiece is way down right now, so you're not going to get a lot for it. But come down, let me take a look at it. I know you always take care of your stuff. Let's see. And I said, yeah, I got the box, I got the papers, I've got the tag, I've even got the original receipt. He's like, bring it all. So I went down there, talked to him, and he was very upfront with me and said, it's beautiful. I don't know how much I can get you for it. And like I said, I'm not sure the demand is there, but let me make a few calls and I'll see. I said, okay, that's fair. And this was a Tuesday afternoon. He said, I'll call you back by Friday, and hopefully I'll have some news for you. But again, no guarantees. I said, okay, that's fine. So I went home and I was thinking, I really want to sell this watch. I needed to. There were reasons I needed to sell it at the time, and didn't need it anymore, and it was sort of a waste. So Wednesday morning, my phone rings, and it's him. And I said, you're calling me already? That's kind of funny. He said, yeah. He goes, can you bring the watch down this afternoon? Bring everything. Bring the box, everything. I have a buyer. And I said, really? I go, how did you do that? He's like, well, I know people. I made some calls, and as it turned out, a jeweler I knew has a client who's looking for that exact watch and can't find one. And I said, okay, great. I said, so he goes, okay, come down at 3 o'clock. I said, all right, great, I'll be there. And we're about to hang up. I said, wait. I go, how much am I getting for it? And he told me a number. And I said, okay, thank you. I hung up the phone. The number he told me was $1,500 more than what the 3 websites all gave me as a value. And that number was only $800 less than I had originally paid for the watch 11 years before. So I basically bought a Rolex, used it, wore it. I owned it for 11 years. I probably wore it all but 5 days of that 11 years. Like, that watch, it had little surface scratches. It had, definitely some wear, but I always, for the most part, took care of it. But it had a little bit of signs of wear and everything else. And I got a lot more than I expected for it. And in the end, I had more money in my pocket. Now, his cut was built into that. I don't know. But I still netted more. I netted $1,500 more than I would have had I just gone on a valuation site or brought it into one of those big jewelers and just had that. And we see that parallel with the iBuyers right now in the real estate space. iBuyers will tell you, we'll buy your house. You don't have to have the hassle of putting it on the market. You don't have to do any of that. But they give it to you, they sell it, they buy it from you at a deep discount, and then they turn around and flip it, try to resell it, and make up the difference. So, sure, sometimes there are situations when it's a hassle and it might be easier to just have the iBuyer do it, but, if you're giving up $50,000, maybe you ought to think about that. Same thing goes with selling a house. Now, statistically nationwide, the last stats I saw is that something like 16%, that for sale by owner homes sell on average about 16% less than realtor represented homes. That's a big difference. 16%. I mean, you take a 4 or 5% commission off the top of what you're selling it for, and you're still down 10% from what a realtor would charge. 10 or 12% down from what a realtor would charge. It's crazy. So you get, 10% down from what you would net after using a realtor. So imagine that. You think you're saving money because up front the costs are less. But there's intrinsic value to having a realtor. A realtor has a network, just like my jeweler. Now, that buyer probably saw opportunities to buy other Rolexes maybe at yard sales, maybe estate sales, things like that. But you never know what you're getting. He trusted his jeweler, who knew my jeweler, and trusted my jeweler, that if the product was going to be delivered with everything it needed, it was going to be a legitimate product and a good a good use of his money to acquire this piece. It's funny because now the if I sold the watch now, I'd probably sell it for twice what I paid for it. But markets change. At the time, there was not a lot of demand, and I still got 1,500 more using a jeweler. So how much more? How much are you really leaving on the table? Years ago, I did a market analysis for people for a home in Swampscott. Friends of ours, they ended up going with a discount brokerage to save the commission. When all was said and done, they sold the house for $40,000 less. They netted about $40,000 less than they would have had they used me. And I talked to another agent in the area. They said, yeah, we were willing to pay X amount. They didn't even call us back. In fact, that discount agent didn't even call them back. They had a better offer. Someone in my company at the time had an offer that was better than what it ended up selling for. Never even got a call back from the discount agent because, I don't know, they didn't have as much invested in it. They were just looking for the quick sale. So I will tell you that what looks good from the outset, it's kind of, think about it with a car too. You're going to buy a car private sale, or will you pay more to pay more and have better results if you go to a dealer and buy the car? So houses are the same way. So don't get all tripped up by the fact that, it's a 4% commission, a 5%, a 6% commission. I could net that money. I mean, the bottom line is, if I'm going to sell it at 5%, and my average listing sells for, on average, over the course of 28 years, over the course of my career, sells for about 3% more than the typical board average of any town that I sell in, then if I'm going to get you 3% more than the board average, why would you risk saving 1% with someone else and potentially leaving money on the table? Or worst case, why sell without me and potentially net like 5 or 10% less than you would at the end by using me? Because by using me, I get to sell the house for you. I make money, but you make money too. I'm worth more. The whole point of capitalism is using me will net you more than not using me. And so I get paid, you get paid, everybody wins. It's a win-win situation. So I wanted to put that out there because it's starting to become a hot topic. I see a lot of for sale by owners coming up when I'm researching properties lately. And a lot of times I go back and look, and sometimes what they sell for is like crazy low. Because think about it, if you're selling a product at a garage sale, you're going to get garage sale buyers, okay? People are looking for a deal, okay? And it's the same with a for sale by owner. If I'm a buyer and I know there's a for sale by owner around the corner, I'm going to have my realtor, because I want a realtor. I want someone defending my interests. So the buyer is most likely going to have a realtor. They're going to have someone negotiating on their behalf. You're going to be negotiating on your own behalf, which may or may not work out well for you. So these are all things to consider. You could net significantly more by using a realtor. So if you're thinking about selling your home north of Boston, North Shore area, Greater Boston itself, definitely let's talk. Reach out to me, give me a call, and let's see what we can do, and let's get you that house sold and get that house sold. But bottom line, let's net you more money at the end than you would have made had we never met. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.